I've spent over 20 years in customer success. I regularly worked with promising customers, turning them from high potential into key accounts, growing 2 to 3 times their spend in just over a couple of years. A notable example was growing a large retail customer in HR tech from €8,000 to €600,000 in annual recurring revenue in just 2 years. Hi, I'm Emily Bastrup, customer-led growth expert and advisor, and today I'd like to show you one of the key patterns I see most founders do consistently. One of the patterns I see most consistently with founders is this. They hire a customer success manager and things work for a while. Then something goes wrong and they cannot explain it. A big customer leaves, or an expansion never materializes. A renewal might wobble out of nowhere, and then as a founder they say, I thought we had a great customer success team. What they usually have is one profile, and that one profile is never enough. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 5 customer success profiles that underpin most teams. Each one has a superpower, and each one has a ceiling. You'll learn which profile drives results and better understand which profiles you have within your own business and what you're missing. Most founders hire their first CS team based on what just broke. That could be a churned account, support overload, or a missed renewal. And that hire is reactive. So they're optimizing for the most visible recent problem and not for the system that they actually need to grow their business. Customer-led growth is a system. It's not just a role. And if you want to deliver 120% in net revenue retention consistently, then you need to have a team that can consistently retain customers, expand accounts, and work with customers who refer you to their network. To achieve this level of consistency, you need the full range of what these 5 profiles can do. Let's start with the first profile. We'll call them the troubleshooter. Troubleshooters are brilliant at being reactive, responsive, and running creative problem solving in the moment. They manage unplanned escalations with calm and speed. This is the person that customers call when something breaks and they need it fixed right now. Customers feel safe with them. They know that when things go wrong, this profile shows up for them. And in early stage companies, this is often what keeps your customers alive through the chaos of scaling. However, by definition, the troubleshooter is reactive. They can't prevent the problems that they solve. In a scaling business, when escalations multiply, you cannot build a team of troubleshooters without also building more problems to troubleshoot. And that's a vicious circle. In fact, by building a team of troubleshooters, you're not creating any proactive capacity. Troubleshooters are always behind the event, not ahead of it. In practice, this role is essential to a customer success team, but as a specialization, not a foundation. If your whole team is in troubleshooter mode, then you have no capacity for proactive value delivery. That means you're managing fires rather than building growth. The next profile is the operator. Now let's think about what an operator does. Your operators are experts at process excellence. They keep the value delivery plan right on track. Your QBRs happen on time, action items are followed through consistently, service level agreements are met, and your commitments are kept. This means customers feel well managed, and internally, you as a leadership team can clearly see what is happening across the book of business. Operators are the structural backbone of a customer success team. And without operators, nothing is going to be consistent. However, operators also have their limitations. Operators typically manage what is in the plan, but miss what sits outside of it. And a customer can score green on every operator metric and still be at risk. And that's because the risk lives in a budget conversation, a new executive, or a strategic shift in your customer's business priorities. And none of that will show up in a QBR deck that's populated with information that only looks at the direct data points between you and your customer. This role is actually reactive by process. So they react to what's visible, but not what's coming. So without operators, nothing scales. But consistency alone does not drive growth. This is the profile that will tell you everything is on track, right up until the renewal is lost. Not because they're not doing their job, because their job does not include seeing what they can't measure. Our next profile is the strategic thinker. Now, this is a very special role. Often they'll come from a commercial background transitioning into customer success, though this is not a prerequisite. Strategic thinkers are fluent in the customer's world. They know their strategic goals, their financial results, the commercial pressures, and priorities. They can sit in a C-suite conversation and hold their own. They read a P&L, understand what an organizational restructure means for your renewal. They are commercially astute. They have the business acumen to spot expansion opportunities, not by selling, but by understanding what the customer is building and connecting the dots back to your product. This is the profile that most directly links to net revenue retention growth and executive retention. However, even our strategic thinkers will have their limitations. They need the operational infrastructure around them, because strategy without execution is just a nice conversation. So if you put a strategic thinker in a team with no operator, then nothing gets delivered. So customers get great insight, but they get inconsistent follow-ups. These roles are rare and they're expensive. If you find one, structure them correctly. Put the scaffolding in place to help them shine. This is the profile that most founders do not have in a customer success team, and it's the one they need the most to scale. Accounts you lose when an economic buyer changes are usually lost, not because you don't have a system in place, but because this profile was not in the room to detect it. They're hard to hire and very easy to lose if you do not build the right system around them. Next, let's look at the orchestrator. The orchestrator is brilliant at aligning customer and internal stakeholders towards a common outcome or goal. They manage the complexity of multiple people, multiple agendas, and multiple definitions of success, and bring them all into alignment. Their ability to context switch and speak the language of the people that they need to bring in the room is second to none. This is the person who ensures that sales, product, delivery, and customers are all pointing in the same direction. It's critical at scale. When your customer relationships span across multiple decision makers and your internal delivery team spans across multiple teams, you can see how that would be a common reality as you scale your business. However, they also have their limitations, because orchestration without substance is just a bona fide coordinator role. And if there's no compelling value narrative to rally all these people around, then the orchestrator is just managing meetings, not driving outcomes. They need the other profiles to be effective. They synthesize and align, but they do not generate the strategic insight or deliver the operational plan. Often, this is the last profile that founders think about. This profile prevents customer success from becoming isolated from the rest of the business. Without your orchestrators, you get silos. Sales blames customer success. Customer success blames product. And the customer is caught in the middle, experiences the failures of this lack of coordination within your business. So what's the profile that brings this all together? That profile is called the customer business partner. Now, the customer business partner, that's the North Star. It's not actually a hire, it's more of a development outcome as you think about your team. The customer business partner operates at the intersection of all four of the profiles that we visited previously. So they're proactive, where the troubleshooter is reactive. They're strategic, where the operator is process-bound. They're aligned, where the orchestrator is coordinating, and commercially sharp, where others are relationship-focused. They anticipate the customer needs before the customer even asks. They navigate internal and external complexity without any drama. They can articulate your product's value in the customer's own commercial language. And they are the reason that a customer renews, expands, and refers. So here's what I want you to take away. Every one of these profiles is valuable, and every one of them alone will let you down. The troubleshooter fixes things, but cannot prevent them. The operator delivers consistently, but cannot see around the corners. The strategic thinker sees the full picture, but needs the system around them to execute. And the orchestrator aligns everyone, but needs something worth aligning around. And the customer business partner, the one who brings it all together, is not something you can just hire on LinkedIn. It's what you build towards when the other 4 capabilities are working. Most founders start with a troubleshooter because something just broke, and an operator because they need process. The strategic thinker and the orchestrator come later, but usually they come too late. The accounts you lose in years 2 or 3 are often lost because these 2 profiles were not in the room early enough. The question I want you to sit with is not, do I have a good customer success manager in seat? It's, which of these 5 capabilities does my team actually have? And which gap is actually costing me the most without my even knowing it? If you're sitting there thinking, I know exactly which profile I have, and I know exactly what I'm missing, please drop it in the comments. I read everything. Next week, I'm going to go into something closely related. And that is what happens when a founder walks into a customer conversation leading with their product instead of leading with a customer's problem, and why that single shift changes everything. More on this next week on this channel. Thank you for following the 5 customer success profiles.